Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics, Classics, and Non-Classics. This is episode number 873 and Doublshot number 767. Two Marvel trades. First up, it is Marvel's Companion. Yeah, really thick book. This book collects Tales of the Marvels Blockbuster, Tales of the Marvels Air Demons, Tales of the Marvels Wonder Years 1 through 2, the 4-issue miniseries of Code of Honor, the two issue miniseries for Conspiracy, and 2 issues of Ruin. Now, who does these one-shots? Does these particular books? The first book, Blockbuster, is done by Marno Nicita. Dan Ebb and Andy Lenning does the Tales of the Marvels Wonder Years. Dan Ebb also does Ruins. Code of Honor is done by... Actually, Ruins, that one's done by Warren Ellis. Conspiracy is done by Dan Abnett. Code of Honor is done by Chuck Dixon. And I think Mike Barron does Inner Demons. What the heck is these particular series? It's a companion to the series Marvels. It's just Marvel's take on the successful Astro City. That is basically what this is. It's basically Marvel's take on Astro City. It's basically the people's perspective of the superheroes. Yeah, basically the average person, how they react to the various superheroes and villains beating the crap out of each other on a regular basis. Of course, the various heroes from Spider-Man, Luke Cage, and the Code of Honor miniseries, the Punisher makes frequent appearances throughout this whole series. Why? Because one of the people who wrote the original ongoing series, Punisher, Chuck Dixon, writes it. Yeah, we also see appearances by other villains like the Kingpin, drawn very weirdly in this series. Yeah, Kingpin, Stiltman. The Wonder Years is simply just the public's reaction to the death of Wonder Man from the 90s. That's simply what it is. Code of Honor is a series focused on an officer at the NYPD, him getting engaged, having a family, having interactions with the Punisher. Stuff like that. A really good miniseries. Ruins actually follows the photographer from the Marvel series. I haven't read it yet, but from what I can tell, this is actually the same photographer in that series. It's basically with him actually dying. In case you wonder, does any known superhero villain die in this series or make their debut? Nope, none of them do. It's all just regular average heroes. Average people. Conspiracy, this particular 2-issue miniseries is just some wild stuff that happens related to this particular thing. Let's see if I can get to it here. Yeah, but also, the series is noteworthy for having all these series. This is for Conspiracy. Look how gorgeous his artwork is. Yeah, if you want to know who the artist for this series is, you're probably thinking, great cover. Is that an Alex Ross cover? Nope, it is not. That is not Alex Ross. Alex Ross has got nothing to do with this series. The front cover that's done by Teresa Nelson. This is also the cover for Ruins #1. And the back cover is done by Igor Coretti. This is this cover right here. Yeah. The other artists for these series are Bob Willing, Sean Martinbrew, Tristan Shane, Brad Parker, Teresa Nelson, like I said, also the cover. Vincent Evans, Igor, well, I've already mentioned that in particular. Cliff Nelson, Derek Gross, Paul Lee, Chris Muller, Studio Infinity's Floyd Hughes, Ken Meyer, Scott Sevilla, Omar Lewis, and Randy DeBurkey. I would say probably with the exception of the Inner Demons miniseries, which had really kind of oddish artwork. I think Marvel should bring back these artists to do more books because the artwork for every single one of these series is so good. So fantastic. And I keep wondering though, like, in case you're wondering when did this trade came out, this came out only just 4 years ago. I picked this up from Ollie's for like $8. Yeah. Really fantastic set of stories here. And if you are interested in, if you're a fan of Astro City, it's just Marvel's take on Astro City. That's simply what these series are. Marvel's Astro City. Though it's basically featuring Marvel superheroes instead of made up heroes like Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Next up is basically a trade that collects the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord. Yep. This contains the Star-Lord stories from Marvel Preview number 4, number 11, 14, 15, 18, Marvel Super Special number 10, Marvel Spotlight Volume 2, number 1. Yeah, the series was launched in the 70s. Marvel Premiere 61 and the first Star-Lord series from 90s, which was 3 issues. Yeah, there are about 4 different writers in here. The first one, the first story Marvel Preview is done by his creator, Steve Englehart, which, if you read the first appearance of Star-Lord, it kind of is a different origin story than what... It's one of several different origin stories Star-Lord's had over the years. Yeah, he's probably the one character at Marvel who's had more origin stories than, let's say... He's had as many as Donna Troy from DC Comics. Yeah. This origin story is that now, there are 2 things consistent about Peter Quill in his origin story. One, that he has a mother named Meredith Quill, and she dies when he's pretty young. And the second is that his father is Jason of Spartax. Aside from those 2 things, most of his backstory is pretty much altered always frequently. Now, in the case of the original story, his parents were killed by some aliens, and apparently, even though his parents... Now, the thing starts out with him as a baby, and his supposedly stepfather... Yeah, there's very little later about his backstory. Apparently, because the child looks nothing like him, he thinks that he accuses his wife of adultery, so he decides to do the unthinkable. Takes the child outside to chop its head off. Yes, that's very heavily implied by the artwork. Before he can do that, he has a heart attack. And apparently, Meredith Quill... Now, I understand why she couldn't reach out to him just in time to get to the day. Why she took a while. Because she had just given birth. I'm sure a lot of women basically would be in pain like that. So that's perfectly understandable. Then, of course, she raises him perfectly fine. And then she gets killed by a group of aliens. And here's the thing. The sheriff's department are complete buffoons who don't believe a little boy for seeing aliens. Yeah, did you bother doing an autopsy of this damn corpse on his mother? Oh no, probably died some random thug despite the fact some of the stuff doesn't match human technology. Yes, Steve Englehart ranks the sheriff's department of this small town to be an idiot. Eventually he goes to an orphanage, escapes, goes to NASA, goes to space, goes on a space station because he really wants to go in space so badly, and apparently he's not a very nice person, so because he's so disgruntled, he's not very liking what people are doing. At one point, he's a captain, and he's demoted because of some actions because it says, screw you for not sending me to space. So he goes to space, and he gets there, and then eventually to pick a potential Star-Lord. Yeah, the reason that they picked the name Star-Lord is different in how it's known depicted. Yeah, and of course the outfit he wears in the cover here, and here, that's actually the outfit Star-Lord would wear throughout the late 70s. Yep. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, he eventually takes a spot. He takes a spot from NASA's choice to go be the Star-Lord. He takes him out. Of course, he's sent back to Earth. He goes back up to space, takes a spot, goes to the planet, becomes the Star-Lord, and then after that, he goes on his own series of adventures. Now, for pretty much the rest of the stories, with the exception now for the rest of the Marvel Preview stories and the Marvel Super Special, that's all done by Chris Claremont. Yeah, Chris Claremont takes over and pretty much makes Star-Lord to sort of like he's known and depicted right now, being this basically the sci-fi epic guy, this sci-fi space, this basically the space hero. Yeah, and I should point out though, when Chris Claremont was writing these stories, he was doing Kenny X-Men the same time. Yeah, Chris Claremont was a busy guy in the late 70s. Yeah, doing this, and Kenny X-Men, Marvel Team Up, Iron Fist, Miss Marvel. Yeah, this guy was one busy guy at Marvel. He was basically at that point, Marvel's, he was the 70s version of Stan Lee and how many books he could do at the same time. Yeah, and also in issue 11, we got introduced to Jason of Spartax. I should point out though, Jason of Spartax, he looks different than you know depicted today, where he's basically a guy with a beard, he's a little more bulkier. Oh, I should also point out though, that the Marvel Preview stories are in black and white. Those of you curious though why in the world that is, Like, why in the world these stories in black and white? Because that's the way Marvel Preview was. All the stories are in black and white. Heck, even its replacement series would continue the same numbering, Bizarre Adventures, that also had, well, them pretty much depicted in black and white. Let me find him on here. The character Jason Spartax. Here he is. This is Jason Spartax from his debut appearance. Yes, this guy here, that's Jason Spartax in his first appearance. Yep. I gotta hand it to Marvel for putting all of his space ventures in here. Eventually, the last 3 stories in here for Marvel Spotlight 6 through 7 and Marvel Premiere 61. That's all done by Doug Mowak. Yeah, he does pretty much the reading of the stories. And after that, Star-Lord wasn't seen again until 2004. Yeah, he disappeared for a good, like, over 20 years. Yeah, he disappeared in 1981, didn't return for 23 years. Excuse me. My guess is the reason why Dan and brought this guy back. Well, my guess is the reason why Marvel said bring him back at that point because, well, Dan and probably really wanted him there. That or probably Keith Giffen probably wanted to do him. Yeah. But somebody at Marvel must have been a big fan of this particular era because these are really damn good stories. Now, what about the Star-Lord miniseries from the 90s? This is done by the creator of the character Thrawn. Yep. Grand Admiral Thrawn, the creator of Grand Admiral Thrawn, does the 3 issue miniseries Star-Lord. And now I should point out that for the trade, the pages in white, that's all the Peter Quill stories. The ones in black, that's basically the Star-Lord miniseries from the 90s. That is a different Star-Lord who finds, now apparently Star-Lord had his own spaceship, and he apparently abandoned it at some point. Now the artwork for this series is done by Dan Lewis, and man, this artwork is gorgeous. Like, wow, it is so good. It's not Paul Gulacy per se. I mean, it's a similar art style to his, except for the eyes. But yeah, this was by far the first self-titled mini-series for Star-Lord, though not Peter Quill Star-Lord. Peter Quill Star-Lord would not get his first self-titled series until 2014. Yep. And because this is all classic stuff, I'm giving this book roughly a 10 out of 10. It's really, really good. I highly recommend people who are fans of Star-Lord. If you want a good starting point for Star-Lord, pick up this trade. It is well worth the money. Though I only paid $7.99 for this thing. And here's the thing, its original cover price, $34.99. Yep. Yeah. Of course, at this point, he was a cop, not like the way he's depicted right now, where he's just some thief. Though elements of that, how he's depicted currently, that's actually taken from Star-Lord's original origin story, which was also put into the Guardians of the Galaxy film. And of course, Steve McCart himself makes a cameo in the film as well as the prisoner with white hair when in that infamous prison scene. Yep. Oh yeah, and also in the first issue, and I'm like, this is unusual for the 70s. Yeah, for some reason, the guy who dies beginning in Star-Lord's first appearance, yeah, he swears. He says the B word. Not kidding. Eckhart writes the swear word in the late 70s. I don't know why, but he did. But I gotta say, this was a terrific stroke of genius for Marvel to do, collecting the original appearances of Star-Lord. Yeah, because stories are just so good and so classically told. And this is a good companion piece if you're collecting stuff like Legendary Star-Lord, from Sam Humphries, the Falling Up Star-Lord series, also by Humphries as well, and of course the recent Star-Lord series by Chip Zdarsky, and of course the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is also a good addition to your Marvel Cosmic stuff, because it's just so good. But here's the weird thing about these stories. He never interacts with anybody in the Marvel Universe. Yeah, that's the thing. He interacts with nobody. He doesn't interact with anybody until 2004, when he meets up with frickin' Thanos. Yep. Also, that was also the series they brought back the character of Rock Raccoon. But he's a story for another time. I actually have the trade that has his first appearance. And I'll talk about that next episode when it comes to this particular series. But my next video I'm going to do is my review for One Piece. Yep. But until you see you in my next video, bye.